there is a lot of credit repair companies out there. So the main questions you want to ask is, number one, are you licensed and bonded? And why is that so important? Well, if you're with a licensed and bonded company, if they don't do what they said they're going to do, you can just call the attorney general and say, hey, these guys said they're going to do this, this, and this. They didn't do it. They don't answer my call. They don't exist anymore. The attorney general just goes into the bond and just takes the money and hands it to you. So make sure they're licensed and bonded through the attorney general. So that's what you want to look at. Number two, most credit repair companies out there. So there's several ways. And by the way, most credit repair companies out there, not that they're bad, well, typically you're able to take 30 to maybe 50% of items off your credit using a system that you yourself can do. So most credit repair companies go to like TransUnion.com, Equifax.com, and they go into those websites and they start disputing items that are on your credit. Well, you can do that yourself and have the exact same success. Now, a lot of my friends are going, well, I can do credit, I can fix my own credit. Absolutely. You definitely can fix your own credit. You can go and pick up all these credit repair books, read up on it, make sure you know about the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Now, the Fair Credit Reporting Act has been around since 1970, and that Fair Credit Reporting Act says that you can dispute items that are not correct or out of date or obsolete. For example, my legal name, if you looked at my Facebook, it says Joe Reyna Sr. Well, my birth certificate says Jose Angel Reyna Sr. So since I left high school, I've always signed just Joe Reyna. So it's kind of hard, and I didn't purposely do that, but it's going to be hard for a bureau to go, hey, that's actually him. When we send in a driver's license or social security card, go, well, you need to prove. And by the way, the burden of proof it's not on you, it's not on the consumer, it's on the bureaus. The burden of proof is on them. So when people go, is credit repair legal? Absolutely. It's like you taking your lawyer to court and your lawyer says, sit there and don't say anything, let me do all the talking. So that's pretty much how credit repair works, is you hire someone to go and dispute items. Now, the most important thing to understand, let's say I personally had a loan with Bank of America, just hypothetically. I got deployed, I went to Iraq, came back, I got behind on my bills, and Bank of America says, hey, you owe us $10,000. If you look at my credit, I'm behind like 6 months, and then they send it to collections, and then now all of a sudden I owe Bank of America, they charge it off, and I owe Bank of America $10,000. Well, Bank of America sells it to a collection agency, and the collection agency starts calling me. So paying that collection agency doesn't do anything for my credit. Now, it'll show a zero charge off on my credit. Let's say tomorrow I win the lottery, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to fix my credit. And a lot of people say fix my credit, meaning I'm going to go pay old debt off. That does nothing. Zero to your credit. Nothing at all. All it's going to do is going to do two things. One, it's going to show a zero charge off. And by the way, a zero charge off on your credit is as bad as a $500,000 charge off. They're the exact same thing. There's no difference. You get a little good karma because you paid off that debt, but you didn't pay it off to the original person you owed it to, which was Bank of America. You paid it to the collector. And by the way, Bank of America sold it to that collector. So Bank of America wrote it off. They charged it off, and then they sold it to ABC Collection. So a lot of people say, well, I paid my old charge off. I paid it to zero, but it's still on my credit. I paid it 5 years ago. Well, guess what? When you paid it off 5 years ago, you just reset that clock for 7 more years from the time you paid it off. So that's all that does. It shows a zero charge off, and it starts the clock, the 7-year clock. So what you got to do is you got to find a credit repair company that goes in there and uses the Fair Credit Reporting Act to its full potential. So paying no debt off is not the way to fix your credit. So, and I get a lot of people, got a lot of realtors, loan officers that send me people, and they got late pays, they got slow pays, they got repos, they got bankruptcies, tax liens, student loans. And those are all things that can be removed from your credit. Now, with that said, let's go back to me owing Bank of America the $10,000. It's off of my credit. So once I get it off of my credit, does not mean that I don't owe Bank of America that money. So I can't go back to Bank of America and say, hey, hey, listen, my credit score is now 820. I used to be at 450, but you know, I need a loan to start another business. They're going to be like, hold on a second, wait, yeah, you got a good credit score, but by the way, you owed us 3 years ago, you owed us $10,000 you never paid. So you can't go back to that bank again. And listen, you can go, hey, listen, I'm going to go ahead and pay you the $10,000 I owe you because now I have it. Again, that does nothing to your credit. You pay your collection, you paid a old debt off that's already a charge off or in collections. Again, does nothing for your credit. So understand that does nothing for your credit, and make sure you find a licensed and bonded credit repair company. So those are the first two questions. Like, again, there's a lot of credit repair companies out there, but those credit repair companies will do exactly what you can do. You can go to Barnes & Noble, pick up 3 or 4 books and read about credit repair. And I'll show you, here's a good one. And which is kind of like, here's one here, okay? And just brought this one in for you. This is just one of the 5 that I've read. And here's what I've found from reading a lot of different books. We got our information about 17 years ago from someone who was working for Experian for a long time. They called us up and said, hey, listen, I don't work for Experian anymore. I want to tell you, I want to give you the ins of how to repair someone's credit and make sure that debt never comes back on their credit. So there's 2 different ways to do it. Go online, and you can try this tonight. Go to transunion.com or wherever you have some items, dispute it, and you'll see maybe a 30% ratio that you'll be able to get it off of there, and keep disputing it, and it keeps popping back up. So, and there's a certain way to do that. And most credit repair companies don't know how to do this. So you got to ask them, if you're going to take it off, is it going to pop back up? So that's the other question you want to ask them. You want to ask them, if something comes back on my credit, will you take it off of my credit? Most of the credit repair companies say, well, you can pay and take it off again and keep paying us. Why are you going to keep paying them? So most companies, again, will take max 50%, 15 to 20% of that stuff is going to pop back on there. What we do, we'll take it off the bureau. And typically, we can't legally tell our customers we're going to take 100% of things off of their credit, but the facts are the facts. We typically can take 85 to 95% is what we tell our customers, but we haven't seen anything that we can't take off of someone's credit that they put on there, whether it be tax liens, student loans, bad, slow pays, bad pays. The slow pays is another thing that you want to fix. Inquiries. A lot of people go, well, I went to a car dealership, which is funny because I'm at a car dealership. I went to a car dealership and they pulled my credit 100 times. They sent it to 100 banks. Well, as a finance manager, I'm going to tell you that happens when you have a finance manager that's not experienced, that can't look at the debt to income ratio and look at a deal and go. And it does happen because you got some inexperienced finance manager that goes, well, I'm just going to send it to everyone. Because they don't calculate the debt to income ratio. They don't look at the bank. Bank A does this, but bank B won't do that. So I'm not sending it to bank B because they're not going to do this deal because of, certain criteria that bank B does and bank A doesn't. So that's true. They'll send it to a lot of places, but within 10 days, that's only going to bring your credit score down 2 points. That's it. Most people go, whoa, my credit score went down 100 points because these dealerships send it to a lot of people. Yes, they send it to, and here's the thing, you got to get those things off of there. Let's say your credit repair company gets you from a 580 to a 720, but your inquiries are still there. So when you go get a loan, they're going to be like, well, this guy's got a great credit score. Why hasn't anyone sold him a house, sold him a car, gave him a credit card, got great insurance, because they look at them and go, well, why do they have all these inquiries? So you got to take those inquiries off as well. And again, you got to find a company that knows how, because not all of them know how to take that off. And here's another thing. And I'm going to read some questions here. So if you got some questions, just go ahead and throw them on there. If you got some questions, please just go ahead and go on there and ask the questions. Here's another thing about when you go to a credit repair company, you want to ask them a couple of things. One, do you come with a guarantee? If something comes back on my credit, will you take it off? We come with a 7-year guarantee, by the way. If anything ever comes back on your credit, ever in 7 years from the time you signed up for our program, and by the way, we have the least expensive program out there. You only pay for 6 months, and then we give you 6 months for free, just in case you stumble again or you miss a payment. We'll go in there and take that off of your credit. Just kind of the last 6 months is kind of coaching you on helping you get back on track. And so we come with a 7-year guarantee. And by the way, if you're going to fix your credit and you sign up for a credit repair, go ahead and make sure you stay on track. So make sure you're going to get credit cards, you're going to get approved for all kinds of stuff. Make sure that you can sustain that debt service so you don't get yourself back into that situation again. But if you do, you can always go back to a credit repair company that's licensed and bonded, that has a 7-year guarantee, that nothing ever pops back on your credit, and takes it off the bureau itself. So just to recap, and I'm going to see if you guys have any questions to recap. If you're looking for a credit repair company, make sure they're licensed and bonded. Number 2, if they're going to dispute items and take them off your credit, make sure that they have a guarantee. Like us, we have a 7-year guarantee. If anything ever pops back on your credit, that they'll take it off absolutely free. They don't charge you again for it. And by the way, we haven't had anything pop back up on anyone's credit. We've had over 67,000 customers. You're talking about movie star, professional athletes, bank presidents, mortgage companies that went bust, that they needed us to clean up their credit. In 17 years, we haven't had one thing pop back on their credit, and we've been in business over 18 and a half years. So in the first year and a half, we figured out how to not have things pop back on your credit. So make sure they have a guarantee that they, 1, licensed and bonded. 2, they have a guarantee that if anything ever pops back on your credit, that they're going to go ahead and take it off absolutely free. That you're not paying per item, and you're not paying every month for the next 3 to 4 years. So make sure that they have those 3 items. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to see if you have any questions. If not, I'm going to get out of here. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Please share this just share the video, because you never know whose lives you're going to touch. Someone might be living in an apartment and they're probably going, I wish I had a house, but my credit is not up to par. Well, guess what? We can take care of that. And it's legal. The Fair Credit Reporting Act says that you have the right to dispute those items. You just got to get the right credit repair company. So share it, like it. I appreciate you guys. If you have any questions, you can post them down below. I'm going to go ahead and post. I can do a free consultation for you guys. I'm going to post a link on this video here as soon as I'm done. If you need a free consultation, I can do that. It comes straight to my email. I'll look it over and I'll call you and discuss that. But share it. Share this with as many people as you can. Again, if credit repair is legal, make sure you're getting someone that knows what they're doing. Yes, you can do it yourself. If you've got time to read books, I'd say it'd take you probably about 6 months to a year to get it down to where you're able to get your credit score up. But those things are still going to pop back up. So just, get yourself someone that is licensed and bonded to work on your credit. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Share it with all your friends. You guys have an amazing evening. Again, my name is Joe. I'm your finance and your credit repair expert. Have a nice evening.